Welcome, everyone. This is Andrew Dailey of MGI Research, and welcome to our session, How Finance Helps Build a World-Class SaaS Business. One of the things that we've been talking about throughout this event is really identifying what is the most fitting use case for your organization and what are the right solutions that can address your specific use case. And one thing that we see in the software space and in the as a service business space is there's this real segment that's in between the, let's call it 25 or $50 million in revenue up to $1 billion in revenue. And often in those organizations, the finance function is, to put it very nicely, highly dynamic. And so to talk about
to everybody listening who's in the job right now, Andrew, they're all going, yes.
Yes. So please welcome me, join me in welcoming David Appel, head of subscription and SaaS vertical at Sage Intacct. Dave, welcome to this session.
I love MGI. I don't know what session I am for all of you listening right now. I hope you got some energy. Andrew, what MGI have built has been spot on. We're happy to be part of it. We put a lot of research into what is the next generation finance team got to do in order to help guide a company like yours become successful. There's so much data people need. There's so much cash they want to invest. There's so much they don't know. And we'd love to make you the hero for doing that. And MGI's perspective on where the puck is going in the marketplace is fantastic. We're so happy to be part of it. Thank you.
So for those who don't know, Sage Intacct, just give us a little sense, size, scope of the business.
Yeah, Sage Intacct is the number one product out there that combines both subscription and financial management. So you get one workflow in your quote to cash process across your SaaS or subscription business. And that's what allows you to accelerate cash flow. What allows you to accelerate understanding your customer and maximizing the customer lifetime value. We are a division of the world's largest company that focuses on the office of the CFO. It's called Sage Corporation. It's a $10 billion plus or minus, depending on stock price, market capitalization firm out of the UK. And they acquired us 4 years ago. And it's been a very good marriage. And they've only given us, I always say people, more capital and broader reach in order to help more companies be successful.
So who is the ideal customer for Sage Intacct? Who's your perfect customer?
Yeah. Short answer, then a long answer. A $5 million a year SaaS firm that figured out product market fit, starting to understand the sales model, and now wants to invest in a great repeatable subscription billing quote to cash process. But then beginning with the end in mind, realizing as much as you're trying to drive those sales, when your customers up front, you need data coming out of the back end in order to best guide what markets do we move into, who do we best upsell, what cohorts are the most successful for us, can we hire product management ahead of plan. And so we'll take you, and it's rough. It could be 1 million, it could be 25 million. Somewhere in there, something starts to break. Generally, the number of customers you have to manage, the amount of invoices you have to get out, the number of revenue schedules you have to get out, the amount of data that people want to see in order to guide business decisions. That trigger happens, people buy us and then write us to roughly $500 million.
Yeah, so David, I'm glad we were laughing at the beginning here because I'm going to put you on the spot. There have been a number of sessions where people are taking a best of breed point of view. There are other sessions that are saying, hey, you should buy it all in one. From your point of view, what are the relative merits of a platform approach versus a best of breed approach?
I'm going to flip this on its head, Andrew. I'm not going to make it about the philosophical approach on the two. I'm going to make it about what does the job for those of you who are CFOs or head of revenue operations or many of the other myriad roles. Maybe you're the CEO trying to think about how to hire or what you want to guide your company and your staff into doing. And this, I'm going to break the market into, oversimplify it into 3 markets. Business to consumer, low price point on credit card, high volume business to business, and then high ACV sales assisted business to business. But in each of those cases, You want the product team to understand what problem you're solving for your customers and your markets, and understand where that real value and ROI is coming from, and then build a pricing model that captures it in a way that both makes it easy as possible to retain them, whatever problem you're solving, whatever your billing model is, but then hold on to them as long as possible. After that, you all know your workflows. Andrew's got some very clear layouts of what the monetization lifecycle looks like. But then you want to bill, then you want to be able to upsell and renew. You want to be able to collect the cash. You want to post it into some sort of framework so then you can analyze it. And then you want to look backwards, and then you want to look forwards. The simplest way, regardless of any of those three models that you take in order to do that, is to not have to be moving data out of one system into the other. Because somebody does a system update, and then all of a sudden you, the customer, owns whatever product you're using in order to have the two things talk to one another to come across it. So I just finished last week my 149th customer interview. And the pattern that your peers have said is, I need to move faster to get product out and price it and understand what's happening to move, because I'm in a dynamic marketplace. The fastest way to get that information out is to have it all in one place. I'm happy to discuss it further. If someone wants to send chats, that we come into this and go deeper on it. But we built the product based upon what your peers have said is what they think is the right way to do things.
Yeah, and you've heard this, and we talk about this all the time. Our favorite saying is "Speed is the new black," and it's good to hear that that's coming through in the interviews and the survey work that you do.
All you folks need to watch Andrew ski, and you'll see just how true that is.
So let's now look within the space for cloud-based financials. That's a vibrant market, right? You're not alone in that space. What are the two or three
We are
things?
unique, though.
Well, so what are
Keep
the
going.
two or three things that you believe are truly unique in what you guys do?
Yeah. A GL is a GL. A chart of accounts is a chart of accounts. What's different is the last mile of business process. There's a reason why, as big as the two big players in this space, they still only have, and forgive me, I don't have this memorized. Someone might be able to blow up my numbers, but like 20% market share, as big as they are. Because the problem in the business process space is who can solve the last mile business process and automate it, produce the data out of the back end the fastest that's possible. Years ago, I worked at another cloud financials provider who rode the trend on moving from on-premise to cloud and did a fantastic job of doing it. And the investor return and the customer satisfaction they brought over time proved that. But for all of you listening right now, as you're building your quote to cash process, your subscription process, your monetization lifecycle process, a new macro trend happened. It's no longer about cloud accounting. The macro trend is, how do I best operationalize the subscription lifecycle that I have for my customer? And we are unique. We're the only financials provider that has weaved in native core product that allows you to do the subscription lifecycle management with revenue, with cash, with looking backwards, with reporting, with looking forwards, with FP&A. And we're so pleased, like the ratings we've gotten from you and team, as you've gone very deep underneath the hood, Andrew, because when you say it about yourself, it's bragging. When someone else says it about you, it's true. We really appreciate the market validation that's accompanied investment we've made in the product.
So Sage Intacct runs on the Salesforce platform. What do you see as some of the relative benefits and maybe even challenges of using Salesforce as the underlying core infrastructure for a transaction system like Sage Intacct?
Yeah. With all of Salesforce's partnerships, we're the only financials product that's in their top echelon of partners. And that reflects, because they of course do things that right for the market, but they want to do, I'm speaking for myself. This is not I'm not taking any endorsement for anybody. It's my observation that people do things and create alliances that at best help them become successful. And we really appreciate the time that the two companies have put in order to make that successful. And because most firms start with the lead and then the order in Salesforce. I don't know about all of you listening. All of our market research has shown that that happens. So what we've done is we're the only product that has a native integration with Salesforce, where it's managed by our team. The integration happens with us. So as the order happens, it comes directly over into Sage Intacct with the item master that's there, with all the billing and the revenue and the GL and the chart of accounts dimensions already tagged onto it. So it already comes in. The system already knows how to bill, how to do revenue, how to collect the cash, how to post it, where the data is going to go in the reporting. And that speed allows you to better earn the customer's business, hold on to it longer, collect the cash, get the investor return that's coming out of the back end.
Got it. So for a mid-sized growth company, your ideal customer, they're looking for better financial controls, more visibility, better forecasting capabilities. And then often what we see, because they come to us and say, yeah, but we have a very specific problem. We've got revenue leakage. We've got friction with our customers due to billing problems. When you see that scenario, which you must see all day, every day, do you say, let's start with the billing first? Do you say, let's start with the GL? What's that process? What's that project that someone engages in start to look like?
I've got a great visual for this, that because a picture says 1,000 words. You just go to our website, intacct.com, go to the industries and the subscription page, you can see a visual for this. But time and time again, there's a roadmap in which people try to solve things based upon the triggers that happen in the business. The pattern's you don't have to learn the pattern the hard way. Just I'm sure you talk to your peers, your co-investors, or just come to our site if you haven't seen it. And folks start with billing, but it's simple billing. It's straightforward billing. You're just trying to, in the first transaction, be lightweight and easy to work with. But what's coming and what you want to be mindful of, back to begin with the end in mind, is just be smart and leave yourself space to put in the infrastructure today for what's going to happen when you move from Series A to Series B, Series B to Series C. Maybe take some private equity money or debt financing along the way. All that investment is going to go into making all the processes more mature, more sustainable, more automated. But it starts with billing and just tracking bookings, keeping simple cash management. It depends if you're listening, what stage that you're at. But then as you get a little bit bigger, Series B, you're trying to now retain and upsell your customers. All of a sudden, that's where the upsell capabilities, and like Andrew talked about, managing churn, that both at the gross level and the net level, and then revenue leakage. If there's any faults and breakage in your processes, that stuff slipping through, everything just gets more complex over time. And again, we're unique in the marketplace and being able to cover you through that whole life cycle.
So and you guys have really carved out a really strong space in exactly that, helping people through that journey. We've got a couple minutes left here. Give us a couple, war stories, some customer examples of how you've taken somebody through that journey.
Well, I'm looking at the time. Looks like we got 3 or 4 minutes. Let me give 2 stories. Let me give a firm that's a little bit on the earlier side that many of you might be familiar with, called Cloud Checker. Up and coming firm in the SaaS security space, doing everything by hand in Excel, in QuickBooks, and trying to manage stuff out and looking at, okay, let's automate billing, but what do we want to do in the beginning? And so Cloud Checker hired, the trigger was, we need to operationalize things. So they hired a great operations-minded finance leader, named Sandy Burns, in order to work alongside the product and the sales team. What Sandy did was sat back with everybody. What do we need to most focus on? Shocker, order to cash. And then dived into what's the best way in order to manage it, knowing that where their price point was with their product and what they expected in the product roadmap to be the upsells coming up over time. And putting us in, and then being iterative over time, putting in the information, they were able to take DSO down by half, which freed up essentially a month of operational cash flow. They're able to take budget versus actuals and the cash forecast variance down 90%. Do you know what you can do taking your cash to forecast variance down 90%? You're a lot more confident in hiring. When a competitor comes out with a product that you're going to acquire against it or just accelerate the items, you're a lot more confident to tackle your big customers saying, boy, if you made these features, we'd be even happier. And then tackling that list and then that reducing churn and then churn coming down the next round of funding that you have, post-money valuation being greatly improved in order to have that happen. So that's the kind of outcome. And then growth over time. So there's a great hot up and coming firm story right there. I'm sharing the other end for some of you that are bigger. We had a great firm named Acquia, which is the leader, arguably the leader in the Drupal-based marketing platform. So if you're using Drupal as a large Fortune 500 firm, you're probably using Acquia as the business.
We had their CEO speak at actually our very first Billing Innovator Summit almost 10 years ago now. Yeah, great story.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been we're very appreciative and humbled at the journey and time they've done over time with us. That's a high ACV business. Complex, multiple line items, multiple products, upsold to multiple divisions in a company with professional services, so different time periods coming on there. So without getting too gorpy in accounting, multi-element arrangements with bundled items where the complexity around putting ASC 606 revenue recognition was extremely complex. But same thing, a different trigger, not a volume trigger, but a complexity on the multi-element arrangement on the bundling items. So able to get all that out with putting great billing and revenue rules in place, able to increase, and we're not going to disclose their numbers, but able to materially increase the customer lifetime value and the net revenue churn on, so how much upsell they were able to do over time. And similarly, a faster order to cash process takes DSO down, operational cash up, the amount of upsell increases the gross net revenue churn that happens there, better reporting coming out of the back end out of one system, takes down cash versus forecast variance. And their particular example, and that I love about their story, they attribute it back to then they hired engineers ahead of plan and made an acquisition. They had a competitor coming into their marquee accounts with a niche product, but they saw what was going to happen. So they acquired a similar product in that space, tucked it in, and then forearm shivered that smaller company from coming into their accounts, which then had a great impact to reducing churn. And then all that leading, and there's many other factors with the great product, great culture, great executive team, many other things, but we played our one small part in that into a unicorn exit of north of $1 billion in valuation when Vista Equity chose to take a majority stake. And so there's two different stories about how all these pieces come together. And all of this is, I always say, companies don't buy from companies, people buy from people. And also that in the best run deals, you don't help somebody, you don't sell somebody, you help them buy. And what I'm most pleased about is we tell those stories time and time again is the champions and the heroes that we made are the heroes that we turned our champions into those accounts, which turns into a lot of personal job satisfaction, corporate success, raises, promotions, and then wherever that could take their careers going forward. And then frankly, because we've all been doing this a long time, if we're just all slinging software trying to sell something, frankly, that gets a little old. Making a difference in people's lives and making companies better, that's something that gives you a little extra pep in your step. And those two stories are just emblematic of many others that cover that. Thank you for asking me that question, Andrew.
Yeah, terrific. Both those companies, if I'm not mistaken, CloudCheckr also got a great exit not too long ago. So yeah. So with that, I think we're out of time here. But Dave, thank you very much for your time. Thanks everyone online for joining us here. You're going to be around. We're at a break, so folks can catch you there. There's more information in your booth. Go ahead. I'll give you.
No, that's fine. Thank you. Thank you for the setup. David.Appel, David.Appel@sage.com. The reason why we chose to be part of this is it's such a upper crust of revenue operations leaders that are coming in. I'd love to personally meet you, even if it's not on the corporate level. You'll never be a client of ours. That's fine. I really like meeting people. Like different people geek out on different things. I love talking about this stuff, and if you liked what I had to say in the conversation, I'd be happy to catch up with you sometime. Andrew, thank you as always for what you guys are building and the unique spot you're taking in the marketplace to really push forward the collective thought on this critical business process everybody has. It's a lot of fun to do this with you.
Cool. Well, terrific. Thanks again for your time. Thanks everyone out there. And on to the break and on to the rest of the Monetize Forum. Thank you.
See ya.